Oh look, gravel. So, endorphins. Endorphins are a wonderful thing. Hi, welcome to Walking Buddy episode 3. I'm shooting this directly after I shot episode 2, so I decided I'm just going to keep walking. One time around this park is 1.75 or 1 3/4 miles. And a lot of times I'm into it for like a mile, right? And you find yourself dragging a little bit, whether you're walking or running. Then the endorphins kick in and you have more energy. And since it's a beautiful day, I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to do another mile. Maybe another 1 3/4. We'll see. And while I was doing the 3/4 part of the last walk that you guys did not see, I thought of some other things to talk about. One of them, obviously, was endorphins. I just like saying endorphins. It's a fun word. It is amazing when it kicks in. If you do any kind of, athletics, you know what I'm talking about. Speaking of athletics, there's a fun way to say that word, too. There's a couple things that have been going on lately in the world of sports that I'm just not a fan of. And I thought I'd talk about that. Right now, there have been, I guess, hockey playoffs or hockey championships going on. And because I live not too far from Philadelphia, hockey fans around here have been going batshit crazy about the Flyers being in the playoffs. And that's fantastic. Good for you, Flyers. Awesome. They didn't make it. They lost last night, which is a shame. But I got to tell you, not a hockey fan. Just never have been. I don't know. I just, you know what bothers me about hockey? Do you want to know? The fighting. Now, I enjoy fighting if it's wrestling. Actually, I'm not a big wrestling fan either. I guess we can talk about that some other time. But boxing, I used to love boxing. And not just in the Rocky movies. I used to really be into watching boxing until you had to start paying for it all the time for the really good fights. But yeah, hockey. I don't get the fighting in hockey. I know people that watch it and they get all excited because of the fights. Right, and again, if you're a hockey fan, I'm not knocking you in any way. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's impressive how they skate, and they got a lot of endurance, and it's a tough sport. But, I remember there was an episode once of Boston Legal that centered around, fighting in hockey. There was actually, in this episode, there was a lawsuit being brought against, what is it, the NHL? Is that the hockey league? Because of the fighting involved in it, and how it was really an unlawful thing. And to me, it's not that it's unlawful or anything like that or morally wrong, but, to me, it just seems very unprofessional. I mean, here you are, professionally paid athlete. I don't know what hockey players make. I know it's nowhere near what football players and baseball players make. But come on, you're a pro. You shouldn't be out there fighting. I mean, you get out there, be a grown-up, right? All right, so let's talk about another sport that I'm not a fan of. And again, if you're a hockey fan, bless you. Enjoy your hockey. And who knows? Maybe I'll take it up. Maybe I'll get some skates. Maybe I'll get a puck and a stick, and maybe I'll take it up next year. Probably not. But I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of basketball. When I was a kid, I played basketball for a couple years, and I was a little kid. I was probably in 6th and 7th grade, and I was horrible. But like a lot of kids, you try different things then, and you see what you like and what you don't like. I didn't score that whole one season that I played. I look pretty cute in my little basketball player uniform, though. Gotta tell you, I have pictures. But you know what, basketball, to me, I don't know. I know people that watch it religiously, and I can't get into it, and that's for a couple of reasons. One is that their season is just ridiculously long. There's so many games. And that's just a big commitment. If I'm into something, I would want to watch, all the games. I don't want to miss anything. But they play so much. It's also an issue with baseball. But I'll talk about baseball in a little bit. But for basketball, dribble, run up the court, run down the court. Have some wacky throwing antics and scoring antics, and I don't know, I just don't get it. And you know what I think ruined basketball for me, folks? Was a movie. Actually, it dealt a little bit with basketball. And that was the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island. Now, I don't know if you ever saw that. I don't know if you ever really should see it, but you might want to check it out. It's actually on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. You're probably familiar with Gilligan's Island, a fine show about some unfortunate lads and lasses who were stranded on an island after a really horrible 3-hour tour that went all wacky, and not wacky in a good way. But anyway, they did their show for 3 seasons. 15 years passed. They had a reunion movie. It was called Rescue from Gilligan's Island, which was actually a pretty good movie. You might be able to find that here on YouTube also. Then there was another movie called The Castaways on Gilligan's Island, because the first one had done really well, and they were thinking about turning it into a series, sort of like The Love Boat, where they had like different celebrities come in there. Basically, in The Castaways on Gilligan's Island, they had, at the end of the first one, they actually got stranded on the island again. Then they got rescued again. Then Mr. Howe decided to turn the island into like this great big resort. Boy, and I'm like Mr. Dramatic out here in the park. People are probably like, what is this guy? Like some thespian? Well, those endorphins are making me a little wacky, aren't they? But that movie was okay. They did The Castaways. They had some special guest stars. It was like a resort. People came there. Decided not to turn it into a TV series, but they wanted to make one more movie. And that was the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island. Basically, the premise there was it was still a resort there on the island. And there was a mad scientist played by the great actor Martin Landau, who I think later went on to win an Academy Award. He was a mad scientist who wanted to take over the world with robots. He had created these robots, right? And he wanted to put them to a test, so he decided to do it on Gilligan's Island. Now, at the same time as this, the Harlem Globetrotters plane had to crash land on Gilligan's Island. So the mad scientist thought it would be really a great idea to test his robots by having them play a basketball game against the Harlem Globetrotters, mixed in with the Castaways. So you had the Harlem Globetrotters and Gilligan and the skipper and the professor all playing basketball against robots. Now, let me tell you something. When you watch a movie where it's the Harlem Globetrotters and Gilligan and the skipper and the professor playing basketball against robots, that kind of ruins it. That kind of ruins basketball for you for the rest of your life, because really, how does it get more epic than that? I don't know if it does. So we're talking about Gilligan's Island. I'll share this with you. I've actually started writing a nonfiction humor book. It's a humorous advice book called Everything I Need to Know in Life I Learned from Watching Gilligan's Island. Years ago, there was a book called All I Need to Know in Life I Learned from Watching Star Trek. It was pretty popular, and I had that. And I'm trying to look and see where the half-mile mark is, because I might sort of turn around. Well, that was a great book. And I've just hit the half-mile mark, so we're going to go back. So one day I got that title for the Gilligan's book stuck in my head. I was at work, and I'm thinking, I ought to write a book called Everything I Need to Know in Life I Learned from Watching Gilligan's Island. And I just laughed out loud when I was walking through my workplace, because it was just so bizarre. So I've actually got a few chapters done of that. I don't know when that's going to see publication. I'm obviously doing the Amish Vampire Trilogy first. So yeah, there you have that. But Gilligan was a fun show. Let's talk about another classic TV show. Were you a Brady Bunch fan? I sure was. Now, the Brady Bunch, we had a show, a Sunday Night Fiction Club show not too long ago, where we talked about guilty pleasures. And isn't that a nice shot over there? I don't know how well you can see it. Very nice park here. I had to stop and pause and say hi to my fellow co-walkers, my special guest here on Walking Buddy. But Brady Bunch, right? Yeah, Brady Bunch, it's funny. People make fun of that show, and it's so easy to make fun of. You look at it now, it's so dated with the clothing and just how sweet and sappy the family was. But it's one of those shows you can go back to over and over again. Nice, good, clean fun. And I know my brothers and I, my friends and I, we used to watch them all the time. And it's good stuff. And of course you had like the songs that they did on there. The Brady kids had their groups. They had a couple different groups, you know. They were the Silver Platters, when they were trying to like buy that platter for the parents for their anniversary. And I forget what song they did there. I think it was like keep on, moving on through the night. And then of course they did Time to Change, when Peter's voice was cracking. And I gotta tell you, if you ever get the Brady Bunch Greatest Hits CD, which I did, and you gotta listen to Time to Change, you're gonna find that Peter's voice doesn't crack on there, and it's quite disappointing, because you're used to that, and that's what you want to hear. And when you're hearing a classic song, you want to hear it the way that you know it and love it, right? Hi there, how are you? Friendly Walker. Hey, getting a little sweaty here. Hope I don't sweat on the camera. But another great show that I love, Happy Days. Now, I know some younger people that I work with who are like in their early 20s. They recently told me they'd never seen Happy Days. And to me, you know, I understand that. But to me, it's kind of crazy. You know, it's such a great show. I mean, the show lasted for so long because it was awesome. And what's really cool is you see so many, well, you see a couple of those cast members doing so well now. Henry Winkler is popping up on everything. He was just had a recurring role in Arrested Development. Now, there's another good show. I just got into that last year because it's on Netflix. Fantastic show. If you've never seen that, it's so funny. If you have Netflix, check it out. We've even got one season that they did exclusively on Netflix. I gotta tell you, I'm going the opposite way now, and I forgot, because I never really come this way. This hill that I'm doing this way, it was excellent going down it, but kind of sucks walking up it. Even when you have the endorphins kicking in. Remember how much I loved to say endorphins a little while ago? Well, those endorphins, I think they're kind of slowing down for Buddy. So, mighty endorphins kick back in. What else do we want to talk about here? Oh, I'm just rambling, aren't I? How about music? Kids, do you like Eminem? Do you? Because I don't. I just don't see the appeal there. I don't see the appeal in rap in general. Or I don't see the appeal, let me change that. I don't see the appeal in angry rap. Now, my workplace is currently playing I don't know if currently, like, I don't mean like right now, because I'm not there, obviously, and I can't tell. But currently in their song rotation, they have two Eminem songs. Now, one of them is somewhat tolerable, because it's got Rihanna singing in it, and she's got a really nice voice, and it kind of makes that part of the song catchy. But the rest of the part, I swear, I just tuned it out. Because the guy, I know a lot of people like him, but he's always just turned me off. Whenever I've seen interviews with him, he seems really cocky, and I got to tell you, cocky people in general just totally turn me off. And I think to a degree, when it comes to entertainment, that's something that's a fault of mine. Because I'm finding more and more that if I don't like a musician or an actor or any kind of like public figure because of how they are in their own life, you know, things that they might say, things they might rant about, just their general behavior, then I'm very likely to not give, you know, whatever they're known for a chance. Take this for example, Axl Rose. Now, I used to be, like most people, a really huge Guns N' Roses fan. Used to love Guns N' Roses. Didn't like them at first, but their music grew on me. And Appetite for Destruction, still, their debut album, still one of the best rock albums ever. Fantastic album. The stuff that they had after that, there was the Use Your Illusions, Volume 1 and 2. I was all over that. I remember the day that it came out. I went on my lunch break from work, and I had to get it that opening day. But the band went through their turmoils, from what I understand, in large part because of Axl, how demanding he was, and I don't know if there were drug issues there or not. I really don't know that. I don't want to say that about the guy. But pretty much he's the only member of Guns N' Roses left now. When they've gone out and done tours in the past several years. I'm sure most of you know this. Axl would show up to a concert, you know, a sold-out arena, like 2-3 hours late. Where I remember there was a show in Philadelphia one of my friends went to, and he was a couple hours late, and people were justifiably very angry. Now, what wasn't so justified is that they started like tearing up the place. They were like ripping seats out and just getting very destructive. But apparently Axl had no good reason for this. To me, I think that's very, very disrespectful of the fans. And it'd be something if it was one time and there was a good reason for it. But this happened repeatedly on their tours. And from what I understand, not too long ago they were playing a gig in Philly. It was a smaller venue, and it wasn't even half sold out. So I think a lot of people think the way I do, that you see somebody being a jerk, even if you used to like their stuff, it's going to turn you off from it. Now for me, for a little while, I was even like when I would hear something from Appetite for Destruction come on the radio, I was tuning it off because I was just thinking Axl's such a jerk. And then I was thinking, you know, I can't let that make me totally stop listening to the music. So the way I talked myself into still listening to Guns N' Roses music, even though I personally hate Axl Rose now, is because there's other good musicians on there. You know, Slash, amazing guitarist, Duff, all the other guys, really good musicians. And, you know, there's other groups like that too, where, sorry, if someone's a jerk, I'm probably not going to give them a chance. There's enough people out there who are appreciative of the chance that they're given, right? They're appreciative of that. They're not disrespectful to fans. They're not rude. They're good people, and they appreciate what they have going on. And when people don't appreciate those kinds of things and are jerks to people, especially the people who are spending money on them, then I'm sorry, they really don't deserve to have that adulation. All right, so I'm done walking now. Done talking. That was episode 3 of Walking Buddy. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day. Turning it off.